A couple months ago, I created Plushient, a new channel mascot, but Plushient is not the first Fakemon I made. That was way back in June of 2019. I used to create Fakemon all the time and post them on my Instagram, but I just kinda stopped in 2020. I just kinda got bored, but after creating Plushient, my passion for Fakemon making is back and better than ever. I have tons of ideas I want to try out, but before I can consider trying out new ideas, I must look back and confront my past. I am not a fan of my old Fakemon. With a lot of these, especially one particular, I look back at them and say, what was I thinking? So how about we fix that? I'm going to take my old Fakemon designs, update their art, give them GSC sprites, and give them each a section in the video. Today, we look at 9 total Pokemon. None of their sprites are animated though. I'll admit, I'm not as enthusiastic about these Fakemon. First up is Urashade, a group project of sorts. I originally made Urashade for a Fakemon contest, which is how a lot of my Fakemon were made. Well, I didn't win. The host of the contest redrew Urashade, which is really important because Urashade was improved. Urashade originally had green fur, but the host must have thought that was moss, and drew it like that in their redraw. From then on, I drew it like that too. Urashade, the unresting Pokemon. Overhunting has led this Pokemon to become reclusive. It can summon the fog to conceal itself. Urashade is based on a now extinct California bear, which was overhunted and set up to fight bulls. While not particularly fast, Urashade has a great deal of power and defense. Urashade learns many physical attacks, and as a pure ghost type, Urashade is only weak to ghost and dark, resists bug and poison, and is immune to normal and fighting. In my original concept, Urashade had both a signature ability and a signature move, both of which have been removed. Urashade's signature ability was Ghosting, which would switch Urashade between being a normal type and a ghost type every 3rd turn, which yeah, sounds interesting on paper, but would probably be annoying in practice. So now has Intimidate, Pressure, and Emergency Exit. Urashade's signature move was Caution Stance, which would decrease attack but increase evasion and defense. Again, neat concept, but I doubt anyone would actually like it. But with all of that, we have talked about Urashade. I know I talked about Plushient longer, but again, we have 8 other Pokemon to go over. Now let's get into a whole evolutionary line. The concept behind these Pokemon was to be alternatives to starters. These are the only Pokemon I did not enter in a contest. I made them purely for myself. And to start, get the pre-evolution Squireko, the Squire Pokemon. Always up for a challenge and ready to prove itself. It will head into situations with no plan. Like any first stage evolution, Squireko isn't anything fancy. It is just a Squire after all. As a pure steel type, it is weak to fighting, fire, and ground, resists many types, and is immune to poison. Squireko is meant to be an EV type of Pokemon, able to evolve into multiple Pokemon, each with a different type. Let's meet them, shall we? The first one is Meadoble, the noble Pokemon. Calm and collected. Meadoble guards forests and jungles from deforestation. Meadoble is a steel grass evolution of Squireko. The Squireko evolutions have a gimmick with their stats. Similar to the evolution, the evolutions have a different combination of the same stats, with Meadoble focusing on speed. Being steel grass type makes it weak to fighting and quad weak to fire. It still has a lot of resistances and is immune to poison. Similar to Urashade, the evolutions have signature moves. In this case, I think they work out fine. They're all 80 base power moves with a chance to lower one of the opponent's stat. That stat being the one the evolution specializes in. The next evolution is Bannereat, the Bannereat Pokemon. Bannereat waits for its opponent to move first, and then strikes at the first sign of a mistake. Bannereat focuses on attack. Being Steel Fire makes it weak to fighting, water, and quad weak to ground. Once again resists a lot, and is immune to poison. Bannereat's signature move, Inferno Strike, has a chance to lower the opponent's attack. And now for the final evolution, Pondladin, the Paladin Pokemon. So stoked that no one knows exactly what's thinking, but it for sure has a sense of justice. Pondladin specializes in defense, meaning that its signature move, Tsunami Strike, can lower the opponent's defense. Being a steel water type makes it weak to fighting, ground, and electric. Resists, you guessed it, a lot, and is immune to poison. So now with this evolution line covered, we can move on to the next Fakemon. Who was that again? Oh god, this one. I have no idea what I was thinking with Nagoilog. I was trying to make a horse Pokemon, and I guess I kept adding details until it technically looked more like a Pokemon than a horse. Well, here's the redesign. Nagoilog, the petting Pokemon. It is very docile, and loves it when children pet and ride it. Considered good to be a first pet. Nagoilog is pretty fast and bulky, fitting for a horse after all. Its moveset would be similar to Rabidash's, just with fairy moves instead of fire moves. Being normal fairy makes it weak to poison and steel, resists bug and dark, and is immune to ghost and dragon. Seriously, I hate the original design. What is this My Little Pony OC looking thing? I hate this design. Next is Nagoilog, the serpent Pokemon. Hides deep in the water and makes its territory, and strikes any prey that dare come too close. This Fakemon was made for a Halloween-based contest. It's slow but bulky and a special heavy hitter, learning a lot of strong dark and water moves. Being dark water makes it weak to fighting, bug, grass, electric, and fairy. Resists ghost, steel, fire, water, and dark, and is immune to psychic. I actually really like this redesign. Hiding its face with only an eye poking out makes it look more ambiguous and creepy, fitting for a Pokemon I made for Halloween. And now for the final 2 Fakemon I made before I quit for a while. Made for a contest held by the same creator as the last Fakemon, who is actually making a fan game, by the way. For this contest, the Pokemon had to be a light type, a new type being made for the fan game. However, here they'll be electric type, since light is currently not a real type in Pokemon. So on to the final Fakemon. First is Beaple, the glow Pokemon. The spots on its body will glow when it's dark. The more excited it gets, the brighter it'll get. Similar to Squireko, Beaple's stats aren't anything too special. It hasn't evolved yet after all. As a pure electric type, it is weak to ground, resists flying, steel in itself, and has no immunities. While Beaple isn't anything too special now, if we evolve it, maybe we'll see what potential lies beneath. Reagbound, the royal Pokemon. It lights its body to find people who are lost in the snowy mountains at night. One last slow and bulky Fakemon for the road. Reagbound becomes electric ground upon evolving, making it weak to ground, water, grass, and ice, resists flying, poison, rock, and steel, and is immune to electric. Pretty simple redesign here. Just change the colors to make it look more electric, and boom, it's done. And that, folks, was all my old Fakemon redesigned. I know I could put less effort into the information of these Fakemon, especially when compared to Plushie, but again, 1 Fakemon versus 9, and my old Fakemon posts are still up on my Instagram, in case you want to read whatever info is there. I plan on making more Fakemon in the upcoming months, and when I get to make Fakemon I actually want to make, instead of forcing myself to do it out of obligation, even though no one asked, things will be a lot better. And who knows, maybe one day I'll talk about 9 Pokemon, without forcing myself to do it. Have a nice day, you wonderful people.